Hey guys, SonicMaster here, and today I'm actually re-uploading 2 old videos that I had of me making a potential roster for a Sonic fighting game that I want to see. You might be wondering, hey, why are you re-uploading these? Let's just say, outside of Mario Kart and another game that we're not going to talk about, your boy may have a potential video coming out related to this. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time.
Sonic the Hedgehog, savior, friend, and brother. Sonic has been in my life for as far back as I can remember, and as you can guess, I love Sonic games. Now recently, Sega's been on a roll with not only Sonic games, but Sonic media in general. Whether it's between the Sonic movies, Sonic 3 coming out in December, video games with Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Origins, or even just comic books with the IDW collection, which I actually have most of in my closet there. And even Sega's even doing a Battle Royale type game later this year. Now, one thing that I do want to see Sega get into is the fighting game genre. Now, don't get me wrong, Sonic has had some fighting game outings in the past, whether that be Sonic Battle on the Game Boy Advance or Sonic the Fighters, and I own both. But the thing is, I want to see a modern Sega fighting game. Something akin to Fighters or Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. It's something that I think I'd really like to see, something really cool. And you know what? Today, we're going to be building a roster. Since Sonic, of course, is known for the wide collection of characters in its cast, I thought, hey, I'm a Sonic fan who knows mostly everything about Sonic. I've got time on my hands because it's summer. Let's build a roster. Now, before we get to building the roster, let's get some of the basics down first. In this game, there are going to be 5 categories of characters. We're going to have the speed category characters, power category, utility category characters, tank category characters, and there's going to be 1 balanced character in the game, you know? The character you start with, you know, you learn the ropes of the game. And let me just give you a heads up now, it's not going to be Sonic. Now, some basic needs to know. Speed type characters are the comboing characters, you know, the ones who do the flashy stuff. If you know how to play them really well, it looks like you've been playing this game for way too long. Power characters are going to have the most damaging combos, but probably the least health to balance it out. Utility characters are going to be less about one-to-one fighting and more like setting up things around the stage, or the map, since it's going to be a 2D fighting game. Tank characters, it's in the name, you know what tanks do, duh. And like I said, balanced characters, the all-rounder, just to get yourself ready to know how to play the game. Now, without further ado, let's build this roster. Real quick thing I just realized after this video that I need to tell you guys. This is going to be split into sections. This is section 1 of the video, which is going to be the characters and some DLC. The next video I'm releasing is going to be the story of the game. And then we can have some references that we're going to have for like a 3rd video if you want. Thank you. Alright, you got me. Before we can discuss the roster, we have to ask ourselves about the uniqueness of this game. Now, when making a fighting game, you have to ask yourself this question. Do you want every character to play universally, that way it's easier for everybody to pick up and play the game? Or, do you want to make every character unique, that way every character feels different, since it's going to be a 1v1 style game? Maybe 3v3, but right now, for a Sonic game, I'm thinking a 1v1 system would be a lot better. So, wouldn't it be better to make every character play in a unique way? I want to reach a middle ground, but you know what they say, the man who chases 2 rabbits gets none. So we're going to go through the unique route. Every character is going to play a little bit differently, depending on their typings. But typing characters play similarly. That way, if you choose like Sonic and Shadow, and they're both speed characters, they play different from like Tails and other characters I'll talk about later who are utility type characters. That way, we kind of hit a middle ground without having to chase towards balance all too much. Now, one important system of this game is going to be the Chaos meter. We all know about the Chaos Emeralds. It's one of the main appeals of Sonic. You know, borrowed it from Dragon Ball, changed it around a little bit, changed some colors here and there, bada bing, bada boom, you got a whole new thing now. But we're going to make this a thing. Now, we're not going to make the Chaos Emeralds obtainable in the game, because I wouldn't know how to work that system. If you have any ideas, tell me in the comment section below. But the game is going to have a bar system. It goes up to 7, just like Dragon Ball FighterZ. And when you fill up to all 7 bars, if you don't spend it on supers, what you can do is use it as an install to activate Chaos Mode. Chaos Mode is basically going to be, think Annie from Skullgirls when she does her install, where your moves are like super lagless, you can do it one after another, and you can string almost anything together as long as it actually works and you don't drop it. Now the thing is, the Chaos meter is going to decline pretty fast because you have 7 bars. So if it was a slow decline and a Sonic player hits you with 7 bars worth of a combo, you're not going to be very happy and that game's not going to be very fun. So to balance it out, you can spend on the install and you cannot turn it off. It also takes all of your meter. So if you do install, make sure you know what you're doing. Now let's move on to the actual roster. No cuts this time. The first characters we're going to be introducing here today are...
You guys ready?
No way we're losing this one! Catch me if you can!
Are you guys for real?
And to the shock of absolutely nobody, Team Sonic is in the game. And yes, I put Amy on Team Sonic. Fight me about it later. I was thinking of making a joke where Sonic the Hedgehog was DLC. But then I thought people would put this as a joke video, and I didn't want that. So, let's get into Sonic. As I've said multiple times before, Sonic is a speed-type character, which means his whole deal is going to be doing a lot of combos and doing it fast. He's not going to be this great damage dealer, because the whole point of the speed-type characters in my head is to get in and out of situations. You can get in, put in the pressure, and then you can get out after doing some pretty good damage. Not as much as power-type characters, but definitely more than utility characters. So it's kind of in the middle here. Tanks, I'm kind of 50-50 about tanks, but we'll get to the tanks later. Sonic's combos can mainly be taken from other Sonic media, like Sonic Battle, or his victory animations and Sonic Generations and stuff. But we can make the whole combos. That's going to be a whole video for another day. Let's talk about the super Sonic is going to have. Sonic's level 1 with the right bumper, that's going to be Sonic Wind from Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Wind is just a pretty iconic Sonic move. I think a lot of Sonic fans know the Sonic Wind, and I think it really easily translates into a fighting game into a super move. For his alternative level 1, we're actually going to take from Sonic Battle here. There's a move that you can get to Sonic where he spin dashes on the ground, jumps back, and then a shockwave flies through like the area he just spin dashed. That can definitely be an alternative level 1 to like knock your opponents back, while Sonic Wind could be something to knock them in the air so you can maybe string a little bit more. And of course, for his level 3, we're gonna have Super Sonic in the game. Duh. So Sonic's level 3 is gonna be the Super Sonic combo, where he transforms into Super Sonic, and if you land it, a little animation is gonna play, and it's probably gonna be I'd say the second most damaging ultimate in the game. Of course, I'd love to give Sonic the most damaging ultimate in the game, but I'm saving that for someone a little more special. Sorry, Sonic, you know I love you. Anyway, let's move on to the next character. Next on our list is going to be everybody's favorite lovable sidekick, Miles Tails Prower. Now, as I stated before in the intro, Tails is going to be a utility character. Now I can actually explain what that means now that we're here. Utility characters are going to be characters who place projectiles, traps, or use their own abilities to enhance themselves on the stage. That way it helps them in battle. So for example, because this is actually where I'm borrowing most of my Tails concept from, Tails is going to be a lot similar to like he is in Sonic SmackDown, where you can place traps where your opponent jumps around a lot, and they fall into traps. And you can use those traps to start really good chain combos with Tails. I think that's going to be his best utility and the best way to show off most of his abilities in the series without having like an overbearing character that does too many things. Now, for Tails' level 1, of course, his first one, Tails' level 1 is going to be the Tails Cyclone from Sonic Adventure 1. And it's going to be the, the enhanced one, when he has the ribbon with him. Since the Tails Cyclone, not as iconic as the Sonic Wind, but hey, it's something only Tails can do, so he deserves something. For his alternative level 1, Tails actually pulls out a wrench, builds a turret in front of your face, and the turret starts shooting. Now, the turret actually stays on the field for about 5 seconds, 5 in-game seconds. And whenever Tails clicks the light attack button, the turret will shoot. It can only shoot up to 10 times because I don't want a situation where it's infinitely shooting and then Tails can like hit you with an infinite block stream that you can't do anything about. So it's gonna shoot 10 times and Tails can move while it's shooting. But after the 10 shots are gone, it disappears and it's just back to fighting normal Tails. For his level 3, Tails actually jumps into the tornado and a little animation plays. If it hits you, you're gonna get drive-by'd by the tornado and Tails is gonna shoot missiles at you. It's gonna do pretty adequate damage, but nothing too crazy. Since Tails isn't, he's not a fighter. He's a genius, but not a fighter. And that actually transitions perfectly into our next into the Amy Rose. Now, I had a lot of fun thinking of the Amy Rose concept. At first, I thought she was gonna be a strength character, or a power type, because I was thinking big hammer, big damage, go boom. But then I thought to myself, Sega's doing a lot with Amy's tarot cards. So, what if I do the same thing? Because that seems like something Sega would like to do more. So here's how it works. Amy has 4 tarot cards. She can have the Strength tarot card, the Justice tarot card, the Death tarot card, and just one random one. I'll think of it later. I'll put it in. So what happens is each tarot card will give Amy boosts in one ability. One of them will increase her strength, one of them will increase her defense, one of them will increase the amount of cards she can draw, and if Amy pulls the Death card, because it's going to be like a 5% chance to pull the Death card. If she pulls the Death card, it actually takes 10% HP, but she gains all the buffs. So basically, if you pull the Death Arcana, each one of those skills will last 10 seconds. Because I think that'd be a really cool way to introduce the tarot cards, while also not, forgoing Amy's hammer, which has been her main thing for many, many, many years. So, let's move on to supers. Amy's gonna have 1 level 1. Not all characters can have 2 level 1s. It's going to be Amy enlarging her hammer, just like in Sonic X, and then smacking you with it for really big damage. And her level 3, I had a lot of fun thinking of this concept. Amy's level 3 could be her grabbing the opponent. And if she grabs them, they're put on the other side of the table. Amy draws from a stack of tarot cards, and if she pulls the Death card. And as the Death card is pulled, you see this little figure behind your character, and it slashes at them, but it's actually Amy with her hammer, enlarged. And your character gets sent flying for really good damage. I thought that was a pretty cool concept to do, so I'm gonna stick with that. Anyway, moving on from Amy and Tails. Make sure you remember to knock the door for this next one, because the next character we're talking about is Knuckles the Echidna. Now, of course, he was one of the easiest characters to translate into this game since, of course, he's already a fighter, which means he's perfect for a fighting game. And we're gonna make him a fighting type character. Now, Knuckles is gonna be the most offensive character in this game, without a doubt. I knew this when I was thinking about this, and I knew this when I was talking about other characters. He's gonna be the strongest character in the game, but he's also gonna be one of the slowest. That way it kind of bounces out a little bit. It's all even in the end. Now, Knuckles is gonna be a combo-based character. What I mean by that is most power characters in this game are gonna be like, small hits equals lots of damage. But the thing about Knuckles is, he's not like other power type characters in this game. He's not this big, bulky guy. He's just as thin as Sonic and Shadow and Tails, if not just a little bit thicker. So we're gonna make him more of a combo-based character, kind of like Sonic, but he's not gonna have as long as combos like Sonic. Basically, just like that. So here's what I'm thinking for the supers. For his level 1 super, Knuckles can grab a rock out of the ground, jump into the air, and slam it on the opponent, playing a cool little animation. But it's not gonna be like a grab, it's just a cool little animation. For his alternative level 1 super, Knuckles can do his little 1-2 hit from Sonic Battle, where he winds up a huge punch, and where the punch lands is just this huge explosion that knocks your opponent back to the full screen, putting you guys back at neutral. And for his level 3 super, I'm borrowing from Sonic X a little here. What I want it to be is like this cool little, this combo. Cut that out. It's gonna be that little Knuckles combo that he was doing against Sonic that didn't hit. And what we're gonna do is, it's gonna zoom into Knuckles' face. The punches are gonna speed up. You're gonna see a little flame in his eye. And it's gonna end with like the Shoryuken from a bunch of other Sonic games. I can't really bring one up in my memory right now. I'm thinking Frontiers. I think it was in Frontiers. But he's gonna end it with a little Shoryuken. And your opponent's that's gonna be the most damaging ultimate in the game. Knuckles definitely deserves it. They also need to fix the voice acting, but that's a story for another day.
Didn't think we were so good, did you?
Worthless consumer models!
Before this is over, I'll show you the true power of Chaos Control!
For a Sonic fighting game outing, we have to bring all of Team Dark with us. The first representative of Team Dark we're going to be talking about today is Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, he's actually going to play super differently from Sonic. I know I said that characters in the same category are going to play the same-ish, but that's really not true. For Shadow, he's going to be more of a range-type character with a speed character's build, where he can, do long combos just like Sonic can, longer than Knuckles and Tails and Amy. But the thing is, where Sonic's going to be more of a melee type character, where he's going to be kicking people a lot. Shadow, I see Shadow as more of a range type character. Since in one of the first introductions to Shadow in the manual for Sonic Adventure 2, if I remember correctly, they described Shadow as a sneaky fighter, someone better at being sneaky, while Sonic's better at being direct. And I feel like the best way to really show off those sneaky tactics is using Chaos Sphere, Chaos Control to teleport around the map, where he's kind of in control, but he's not a control character because those aren't characters in the game. So he's going to be a speedy, ranged type character. Now for his supers. Now I know I already said this, but his level 1 super can be an enlarged Chaos Sphere where he charges it in his hand and releases it. It pierces the opponent and drags them across the stage, and if you hold it and use 3 bars for it instead of just 1 bar, it'll actually stick the opponent to the wall where you can start a quick wall combo and get some more damage. That way you can really show off the speedy type character's potential. For his alternative level 1, I'm thinking going back to Sonic Battle here for a second. That little move that you can give Shadow where he jumps in the air, teleports to the ground, and this sphere of chaos energy is enveloping him. I feel like that'd be the perfect alternative level 1. And it can even be an air super, but it doesn't drag you back down to the floor. You can just do it in the air. And for his level 3, I was thinking Super Shadow, but I don't want to do Super Shadow for level 3, because it is Sonic's game. We gotta give him a little bit of something. It's only fair. So Super Form is going to be Sonic exclusive, since that's what the new games are doing anyway. So for his level 3, Shadow's actually going to be doing Chaos Blast, where he takes off his inhibitor rings, and just this red energy is enveloping all around him. And then it just releases. It's going to be a full screen ultimate, but of course you can block it, and it's going to do some crazy damage. But if Shadow misses the Chaos Blast, because he's using a bunch of his energy, as you heard me say, he takes off his inhibitor rings, he's going to be super. Now, moving on from Shadow, the ultimate life form, to a petty thief. And we're moving on to Rouge the Bat. Now, when I thought of Rouge the Bat, I was thinking, what would she be? She's not a speed character, and I definitely wouldn't put her in utility. I don't want too many utility characters. She's not a tank at all, so that leaves us with a power type character. Rouge is going to be a power type character, as I just said. But her thing is, she's also going to be slightly trap based. When I say slightly, I mean she's going to have one trap mechanic, which is going to be the main gist of her entire build. It's going to be her bombs. Rouge can place down up to 2 invisible bombs on the stage, but it has to be on screen. When the bombs are off screen, they instantly detonate and you can't use them anymore. If Rouge steps over the bomb, she also can't use them anymore. They're gonna have like a slight whitish glow that beeps every couple of seconds, that way it's not unfair. But that's really gonna be the gist of her build, her abilities. Besides that, she's really kind of just a run-in-the-mill power character, like Knuckles is. But she's also gonna have one thing Knuckles can't do. She's gonna have the ability to fly around the map. I probably should have said this in the Tails section, but characters who can fly in the series are gonna have the ability to fly for a couple of seconds in the game. Now, this does not include characters who can glide. So Knuckles cannot fly. Omega, I know he can glide in 06, but he can't fly. Moving on here. So Rouge is level 1 super, because she's also gonna have one level 1 super. I think it could be really cool if she had like a Sonic Screech or a Sonic Dive Kick. One of the two, any is fine. And for her level 3, Rouge can actually do something really cool here. Rouge can kind of subdue the opponent and steal bar from them. And each bar she steals is going to be like a little bit of damage. Till she steals enough bar where it's just as much damage as a normal level 3 from anybody else except for Knuckles. Now, to make it fair, since there are 7 bars, she can only steal up to 2. But if she steals 2 bars, it's going to do the max amount of damage that the super can do. So it's really good. You have to press and hold it, but to consume 2 bars, you need to spend 2 bars. You do a level 3, and you get 2 bars back. That's how it works. I think that's going to be a fair way to do it. And that's Rouge. Now let's move on to someone I actually want to talk about, Omega. Omega's a pretty cool Sonic character to me, so of course he's going to be a tank, since he's super slow in a lot of games, and you know, his whole thing is gunning down people, so he's going to be a ranged tank. Whether it's going to be finger beams, machine guns, missiles, it doesn't matter. If Omega can destroy it, it can be destroyed. And that moves on to his level 1, which is actually going to be... I was thinking a level 1 could be like the machine gun, but I think something equally as cool would be a close-up on Omega's fingers, and then it just lets loose. You just see a bunch of smoke come out on the screen where the opponent's supposed to be, and that's his level 1. His level 3, I'm thinking is self-destruct level 3, because there's nothing saying Omega can't self-destruct, and Omega is somebody who has pride. He has said it before, whether in the IDW comics or this is going to be really obscure, Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood, where he was ashamed that he got jumped by a bunch of Eggman robots. So, his level 3 is actually going to be a self-destruct. It takes 50% of your health, but it is the second most damaging ultimate in the game. And it's going to be this really cool thing where if you spend 7 bars for the self-destruct instead of just 3, it takes all of your health, but it can one-shot the opponent if you hit it. So it's this kind of last-ditch effort thing, but if you pull it off, it'll be a really clutch win, and I think really cool. So, that's Rouge and Omega, and we're done with Team Dark. So, let's move on to...
Did they think they'd stop me with this? What a waste of time.
Do you want to try again? I think it's better if you don't.
Iblis Trigger? Is that all you've got?
Now we move on to Team Side Scroller. Now I know it's kind of a weird name, but I call it Team Side Scroller because it's Rush Blaze, it's Rival Silver, and it's Advanced Cream. So those are all side-scrolling-esque games where you go from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. Anyway, Blaze and Silver are going to be the introductions to Gauge-type characters, but we'll get into that when we get there. Starting with, of course, the only balanced character on the roster, Silver the Hedgehog. Now, the thing about Silver is, I wouldn't put him in any other category. He's not as fast as other Hedgehogs, like Sonic, Shadow, or Amy. He's not as utility as Amy, Tails, or Rouge. He's not as strong as Knuckles or Rouge. And he's not a tank like Omega. So, where do we put him? Balanced, of course. Now here's the thing. Silver's abilities are going to be heavily monitored by his gauge. His one unique thing is going to be that he has this little meter, and it goes up to 3 levels. At level 1, he can push the opponent to the left or right of the screen, but it does no damage. At level 2, he can lift the opponent in the air and then push them to any side of the screen that he wants, whether it's in the air, on the ground, or left and right, but it also does no damage. But at level 3, and this is going to be like an 06 reference, Silver is going to be able to pick up the opponent and either slam them on a wall, slam them on the floor, or throw them in the air and then they get slammed on the floor as they're falling down. Or even better, throw them in the air and then Silver is able to combo off them. That way, it's like not only is it an 06 reference, but it also gives Silver some uniqueness that helps him in every category instead of just being another one category character. Now moving on from Silver, we have Blaze. Blaze is also going to have a meter, but it's going to work completely differently. And she is a speed type character, which means combos, combos, combos. Now, Blaze gauge is going to be fire related and it goes up to level 7. At levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, the gauge doesn't do much, but your damage is slightly boosted. At levels 5 and 6, your damage and speed increase by 1.75 times. But at level 7, you turn into Burning Blaze, and you double all of your stats for a set period of time. Now, I know I said no other super characters aside from Super Sonic, but Burning Blaze is the exception, because, come on. We all want to see Burning Blaze back outside of the comics, so we might as well bring her back here. And here's going to be... Oh, I didn't even talk about Silver's supers, so let's talk about them real quick. Silver's level 1 is going to be grabbing a crate and throwing it at the opponent. Or there's a rare chance that he grabs a tin barrel and throws it at the opponent for a little bit extra damage. And his level 3 is going to be the little attack he does from Sonic Generations where you see all these rocks in the air that Silver's manifesting and then slams it on the opponent. While Blaze's level 1 is going to be the boost from Sonic Rush where she will be across the stage or in the air, and then at any time she can use one to just boost to the other side of the screen and it does damage if the opponent gets hit. And her level 3 is going to be like this flame beam, like she used against the Shadow Androids, where she makes this wall of flames, and if your opponent gets hit by it, they take a bunch of damage. And that's Silver and Blaze. Let's move on. Now, we move on to Cream the Rabbit. Now, I want to add a lot of IDW stuff into this game, since Tangle and Whisper were referenced in Sonic Frontiers, or Tangle was, Whisper wasn't. But anyway, so for Cream, she's also going to be a utility character. And her utility is all going to come from General, her helper robot in the IDW comics. You can place down General anywhere on the map. For the light attack button, General, if Cream gets hit, will fly across the screen and punch in a straight line. If the opponent gets hit, they get hit, and the combo stops. If they don't, you keep getting comboed. For the medium version, General flies in the air above Cream and the opponent where they're standing at that exact moment and shoots down 2 beams that don't do a lot of damage, but it stops the combo. And for General's heavy attack, now this does cost 2 bars, General flies off screen and shoots a giant laser that hits the opponent for a pretty good amount of damage, since you're spending more meter on this General attack than you are on most supers. And that's kind of also going to serve as Cream's alternative level 1. She only has 1 level 1. Her level 1 is going to be the Chow Stampede. Cheese flies across the screen at supersonic speeds, and if you get hit by him, you see the stampede of Chows just come zooming across the screen, and your opponent takes some pretty good damage. And Cream's level 3 is actually going to be like a General and Cheese combo attack. It doesn't really matter how the animation plays, but it's just going to end with Cream kicking the opponent and taking a bunch of damage. And that was pretty simple. Cream's done, so let's move on to the more. Now, these next characters that I'm going to start talking about are going to be a lot more fun to talk about. Not because they're more fun than the rest of the cast, but these are the characters that were really like, do I add them in the roster? Do we need them? And I was like, yeah, let's have some fun with this. Now, I do have to come clean again. I lied to you guys again, because there's one more typing in the game that we haven't talked about. And these are the special type characters. Characters who don't really fit into any other category, and there's only going to be one balanced character in the cast. So these characters are going to have this unique ability. And I know, unique ability, really crazy when everybody in the game does something unique. But it's going to be something that's really special, that really puts them above other characters. Not in terms of who's better at the cast, but who has the better ability. So, the first special type character we're going to talk about is going to be...
Be careful where you step.
SBO the Chameleon. SBO was a really cool character in the Sonic games, and I had to put him in the game. I was thinking maybe just put the entire Team Chaotix, but that kind of fluffs up the roster. We're kind of reaching the end of the base roster here, so I just wanted to add SBO. He had to be in the game. So here's how SBO is going to work. He's a ninja, which means he should have the ability to go invisible. If SBO spends half a bar of meter, he can go invisible for 5 seconds. And the opponent will have no way of tracking SBO. Since it's mainly going to be an online game, I was thinking one player will have the outline of SBO, and for the alternative player, there's going to be no outline there at all, but that's probably not going to work. So it's just going to be SBO's completely gone off the screen, and you'll have to pay attention to where he is for both players. Now the thing is, when SBO is invisible, he is slightly invulnerable. And he's only invulnerable to like ranged attacks. Weak ranged attacks, not supers. He can't completely dodge supers because that'd be crazy. But like if you're fighting a Tails player's SBO and you're invisible, and they use the turret super and start shooting everywhere, the turrets cannot hit you because you're invisible. When you come back though, the second you come back, you're able to be touched again. Which I think is going to be a good way to balance it out, since I don't want SBO to be too broken, but as a special type character, he deserves something special. Now, let's talk about the supers. For SBO's level 1 super, I'm thinking he can like have a decoy, right? It's going to be like a counter level 1. If you hit SBO's decoy, he'll teleport behind you and slash you on the back. Of course, it's not going to be anything graphic because, you know, it's a Sonic game, can't do anything crazy, but it'll be like just a karate chop or a ninja star slash, something that doesn't look too painful. For his level 3 super, I'm thinking SBO could charge at you. He's charging at you like a rhino. If you get hit by that, it plays this cutscene where SBO looks at a scroll of like ancient ninja techniques passed down and plays this really cool animation like Greninja's Final Smash from Smash Ultimate. And that's the level 3. I think that'd be pretty cool. But moving on from SBO here, let's talk about some more IDW characters. For the next 2 slots, Tangle and Whisper. Tangle is going to be a strength type character, or a power type character, and Whisper is going to be a utility character. Let's talk about Whisper first, because I thought about her first. Whisper is going to be a character who uses her Wisp gun a lot. You can hold the special button to change between which Wisp you're using, and she's going to be a ranged character mainly. So like every Wisp is going to have a different ability. You use the Lightning Wisp, you can stun your opponents for like half a second. You use the Cube Wisp, and you can like slam the floor with your opponents on it, and if they're blocking, it's an unblockable attack. So if you're right next to them and like you want to mix up and use the Cube Wisp, that's a guaranteed combo right there if your opponent doesn't know how to play around that. And so on and so forth for other Wisps. Her level 1 super is going to be something kind of generic, I know. She's going to aim at you with the Wisp gun and then just shoot you, just like she was going to do to Eggman in that one arc before she was stopped by Cream. And her level 3 super would be all the Wisps coming out and like using their abilities at the same time, and then at the end, she like jumps over you like something like Yamcha's intro in Fighters, and then hits you with a headshot. Of course, it's not going to be anything fatal, but it's going to be a really cool animation. Now, like usual, there are 2 sides to every coin, and to every Whisper, there's a Tangle. So let's talk about Tangle. Like I said earlier, she's going to be a power type character, but she's also going to be the first grappler in the game. Because here's what I'm thinking. A lot of Tangle is basically her tail. It's kind of her main method of transportation, her main method of fighting. So we're gonna play around that. Tangle is going to be able to grab the opponent with her tail and start mid-screen combos. But the thing is, if you grab the opponent at the start of the combo, it's gonna do less damage than grabbing the opponent mid-combo. It's gonna scale a lot harder. So Tangle is gonna be this kind of movement-based power character, where she can move a lot like a speed character, but she can't combo like a speed character. So it evens out in the end. For her supers, I'm thinking her level 1 has Tangle, you know, Tarzaning off trees, jumping in the air, and then hitting you with an axe kick in midair. That's her level 1. I think that'd be pretty cool. And for her level 3, I have no idea what her level 3 could be. I'm thinking of a lot of stuff here. Maybe something from the Metal Virus saga. I'm gonna let you guys think of her level 3, because right now I really can't think of it. We'll have to come back to that later. And for the last character in the base roster,
Don't listen to him. He's a liar. And ugly. And smelly. And he stinks.
I bet none of you can guess who it is. I'll give you 5 seconds. That's enough time. Jet the Hawk from the Sonic Riders franchise. I know a lot of you guys are confused right now. You're like, Jet? Jet? And I'm like, yep, it's Jet. Not Eggman. Eggman just coming in a future DLC. But it is Jet the Hawk who is the next DLC character. DLC. Jet the Hawk is the next base roster character. He is going to be another special type character because a lot of his abilities are going to be based off of his hoverboard. Extreme gear. I'm not uncultured. Anyway, here's how it works. Jet is going to have this little meter for his hoverboard's health. When he's on the hoverboard, he's basically like a speed type character. But his hoverboard can be destroyed if he takes enough damage, around 50% HP. Once it gets destroyed, he turns into a power-based character where he's slower than the rest of the cast, but his combos do some pretty good damage. But the thing is, Jet can also repair his hoverboard. He can repair it by holding down the special button when it's safe, and he can repair it like, let's see here. Silver, since he only has 3 bars of an since Silver only has 3 bars, his ESP meter is slow. Since Blaze has 7, her fire meter is super fast. It's in the middle of those. It's like a medium speed. And you also get the hoverboard back at the start of every new round. So if your opponent destroys your hoverboard and they kill you, or you kill the opponent, next round, the hoverboard is back and Jet starts out as like a speed type character again, even though he is a special type character. For his level 1 super, you can have Jet, Wave, and the big guy. Jet, Wave, and Storm. They can fly past you in this little circular formation, and then all 3 of them jump off their hoverboards and they all crash into you at the same time. But the hoverboards don't explode because, you know, it's most of Jet's kit. And for his level 3, it could be this really cool animation that plays, where if Jet hits you with like a charging attack, it plays this animation where you and him are racing in the sand stage from Sonic Riders, and he pushes you off your hoverboard, you crash into the ground and then crash into a platform and take massive damage. And then if it kills, or KOs, it plays this cool animation where Jet is like standing victoriously with the trophy in his hands that he won by cheating. And that is all the base roster characters. Don't worry, I'll put this at 13 minutes, maybe a little more, but I'm thinking that's the proper amount of 8 base roster characters, which is 4.
I am Kitsunami, and you are my target.
Sucks to be them, 'cause I aim to misbehave.
To think that I'd actually have to do this myself.
Shout outs to the people with low attention spans because they did not make it to this part of the video. Did you really believe I would make a Sonic game and not release Dr. Robotnik as a playable character? You are crazy. In fact, if you've noticed, we don't have any real villains on the list right now. And that's all gonna change with the last 3 characters on this list. So, let's cut the chit chat and get straight to it. Now, when I say 3 characters, I mean 3 characters in the same way that Cream is 3 characters. Well, not exactly the same way. Of course, Dr. Eggman's gonna be a playable character, and we'll get to him when we get to him. But the second to last character I want to add to this roster is a 2-in-1 deal. Of course, when I said I wanted to add IDW characters to this game, I did not just mean Tangle and Whisper. We have to add Surge and Kit. Surge is going to be a special type character. Her whole thing is kind of going to be like Silver and Blaze. It's going to be an electricity unique gauge. While she's fighting, she starts out as a power type. As she fights longer and longer, her unique gauge slowly fills. And it has 2 levels. At level 1, she switches from a power type to a speed type. And at level 2, she switches from a speed type to a special type character. And has both aspects from her power type build and her speed type build. She also has this cool little electricity going around here. Kind of like the final fight with Sonic in the Surge arc. And now, let's talk about what she can do when she's a special type character. Not only does she gain attributes from the speed type and the power type variants, now you'll have Kit as an assist. And when I say an assist, I don't mean in the same way as Cream, where you can have Kit like stop enemy attacks. Kit is going to be permanently a part of Surge's combos. Even when your unique gauge slowly decharges itself, Kit is never going to leave. Once you get Kit, you don't lose him. So Surge's whole thing is going to be using her skills to an advantage, but at the same time having Kit kind of not disrupt, but confuse the opponent as you fight. For Surge's level 1, I think it could be a really cool... Now, I hate having homie attacks as a level 1, but maybe that Blitz combo she did against Starline's Eggman robots, I feel like that could be a cool level 1 to throw back to. And for her level 3, it could be the final attack she uses against Sonic in the Surge arc. Since, you know, that was, in my personal opinion, the second best IDW arc. It would go Metal Virus Saga, then the Surge arc, then the Imperial City arc. The Riders arc isn't finished yet, so we'll see that when we get there. Last, but certainly not, we have in this roster. Now, who is it?
Unfortunately, my likeness will not be in this horrendous excuse of cinema. I'll be using this feed for my new invention to destroy Sonic. Now be gone.